Hey, this is Matthew Ricks, and today on the Music Business Newsletter, we got an email from an artist who he's kind of in a place right now where the music is really starting to affect his relationship with his long-term girlfriend. So we will see if we can help him out, give him some advice. But before we get started, I ask you to go ahead, if you are not already, subscribe to this channel. Leave me a comment if you agree or disagree. And if you have a question on the music industry that you'd like for me to answer, just go to MatthewRicks.com, click submit your question. Give me as many details as possible, and we will answer it here on the channel. Now for the email. He says, hey, Matthew, I'm writing because I feel like I'm failing at two things at the same time, and I don't know how to stop it from getting worse. He says, I am 31, and I've been with my girlfriend for almost 6 years. 6 years? Why aren't you married? You guys, I've never understood this. I mean, I'm single, but I've never understood, like, we're going to date or be in a relationship for 6 years while we're still trying to figure out if we want to be with each other. You're 31. Over a sixth of your life has been with this woman. Just marry her already. He says, music has always been a part of my life, but over the last 3 years, I've tried to take it seriously. Releasing songs monthly, playing shows as much as I can, and posting online daily. This is textbook what you should do. Releasing songs monthly. You're out there gigging. You're not just like releasing music and waiting for, we got an email, a couple of weeks back where a band was playing 150 people at max, and they want to know how to scale up to an arena as their next show. So you're playing shows. You're posting online daily. Like, this is textbook what you should be doing as an up-and-coming artist. He says, I'm doing all the stuff people say you have to do now. You are doing right. He says, the problem is it's starting to cost me my relationship with my girlfriend. My girlfriend says that she supports me, but every conversation turns into the same argument. How long is this supposed to take? When does this start turning into something real? What are we actually sacrificing for? And so on and so on. Anybody who's watching this, who has been out there grinding, you probably have had this conversation with your girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other. If you started a business and it didn't instantly take off, you've probably had these conversations as well. The pain of being an artist and entrepreneur. He says, and I don't have a good answer. I work a full-time job and everything music related happens at night or on the weekends. I mean, you are literally doing everything textbook of what you should be doing in 2025 as an artist. He says studio time, rehearsal, gigs, content, networking, it all eats into the time we used to spend together. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. So let's jump back up here. When she asks, how long is this supposed to take? When does this start turning into something real? And what are we actually sacrificing for? Now, one, you don't give me any numbers, so I don't know what your Spotify numbers are. I don't know what your growth is. I don't know how many shows you're playing. Those are all questions that I think the significant other that somebody is dating, your partner, who sits at home and sometimes finds out what you're doing by what you post online. I think every partner has probably asked these questions at one point while you're out there grinding. It's not rare, but it is. It still cuts deep every time. He says vacations get skipped. Not good. Plans get canceled. Why are vacations getting skipped and plans getting canceled? Were you guys supposed to go to dinner and then you got a call to do a show? Are you canceling date nights and, we're going to go see them light the Christmas tree, but I can't. I got to go home and make a reel for Instagram. If that's what you're doing, you're screwing up here, my guy. I don't know why vacation's getting skipped. Why? Oh, yeah, sorry, we can't go to Cabo next week. I got to go play for 50 people. Like, I understand the dedication, but also you got to honor your commitments and your word as well. He says, even when I'm home, my mind is somewhere else. Yeah, that's going to happen. He says, she tells me I'm emotionally unavailable. Okay, well, I'm not a relationship expert. Okay. Like I'm single. I have had relationship. I dated a woman a while back. Wonderful, awesome person. Just it ran its course. But one of her complaints while we were together was how busy I was and how my schedule would fluctuate because at the time I was working with a label and you got to flip stuff quick. I was an A&R at the time. I was consulting. I was A&R and I was a consultant for an album and you get mixes and like, you got to stop right there and listen to it. So we'd be at dinner and I'm like, got the phone in my ear trying to listen to a mix. We'd be in the car. The night the album released, I remember just like sending her like song after song after song on Spotify for her to listen. And she was a good sport. She tried her best to rock out with it, but it just got in the way, and then if you got kids and other responsibilities, they definitely feel neglected. And in a lot of ways, they are being neglected. Let's just be real. But for her to tell you that you're emotionally unavailable, yeah, I've been told that a few times. And probably not wrong. And she might not be wrong with you either. He says, I tell her I'm just exhausted. This email is long, just so you know. But I don't understand where the balance, why we're not doing vacations, why we're canceling plans. I never have canceled a vacation. I've never canceled plans for something with work, ever. But, yeah, I don't know what the plans are. I mean, if it's like, oh, well, we were going to, watch a new Netflix show and I decided to go play a show, that's different. But if it's like date night or anniversaries or whatever, and you're canceling to make reels, then yeah, that's a problem. Why you're exhausted, you're grinding. He says she sees a hobby that's getting out of control. Well, that's not great. If you're devoting your life to this and you're spending nights and weekends and you're putting all of your money into this for the last 3 years, and once again, we don't have numbers, so I don't know what your Spotify numbers are. You could be sinking 50 grand a year in this and getting 200 plays a year. Like, I don't know. You don't tell me. But for your girl of 6 years to see this as a hobby, that's not great. Just going to be real with you. That's not great. He says, I see the one thing that makes me feel like myself is music, and she doesn't get it. It's an old song from like the 60s, breaking up is hard to do. He says, what hurts the most is that I don't think either of us is wrong. Well, once again, if you've been in a relationship with somebody for 6 years and 3 years into the relationship, you're like, I'm going all in, pushing all the chips onto the table. And your girl is telling you that this is a hobby. And you're 31. I mean, I'm going to just kind of, spitball this one. You're probably, if anything, because I've seen artists do this all the time. It's like date night is like, come with me to a songwriter's circle. Or date night is you making a reel on Instagram. And she just wants your attention. I don't think it's a lot to ask the person you're with that you do disconnect. Now you can't do it every night, but you can do it for canceling vacations and events and like, yeah, I want to do that. That's not fair to her. He says, I'm not asking how to choose between music and my girlfriend. I'm asking if it's possible to pursue this without destroying the person I love. Yeah, it absolutely is. Talk to anybody who dated successfully while they were going up, while they were out there grinding. Talk to somebody who's been married and stayed married. Talk to somebody with kids. It's just about boundaries. It's just about balance. I don't believe in work-life balance. I think that's crap. I think work-life balance is an excuse for people just to do lazy things and then just chalk it up to work-life balance. But I do think you need to have boundaries. I do think that it is good for you to disconnect from what you're working on. Even when I was an A&R and I was like, that was my full-time job. Like that was all I did day in and day out. Meetings, listening to song demos, more meetings, listening to more song demos, listening to mixes, everything. You have to disconnect because one, your ears just get tired. Your brain gets tired and life is to be enjoyed. And if you're just out there, just a hamster on a wheel, just constantly grinding. I've had relationships ruined because of work. And then they get neglected. They don't feel seen or heard because they're not being feeling seen or heard. And it just implodes. And then finally you're like, they're harping on you. You're tired of listening to them harp or complain. And then you're just like, you slowly start to fade out and then you just end it. I've been there, but I will tell you, you can pursue this without destroying the person that you love. He continues, or whether this is just the cost of trying. A special person you're with. I don't care if you're dating a woman, a man, a leprechaun. It does take a special person to be with, to be seriously with somebody who is passionate about what they do. I don't care if it's music. I don't care if it's starting a business. I don't care if it's going to the gym. Because you got to have somebody who is kind of sacrificing for a while. Now, once again, not a dating coach, not a relationship expert, but if you've been with somebody for 6 years and you're skipping vacations and you're skipping events and they don't see a lot of progress and they're calling this a hobby and they're not helping you pursue, I would probably end it. I'm just saying, like, that's just what I would do. And that's probably why I'm single. But, like for me, I have two amazing kids and one of them is in acting and one of them is every day is softball. Every day is softball. Practices, lessons, batting cages, tournaments, whatever. I have a rule when I'm at tournaments, I'm not doing work. So I've had people get mad at me because like on Saturdays, like I don't respond to stuff because I'm there to focus on my daughter. I'm there to watch her. There to watch the team go Explosions. And I'm not going to sacrifice that. Even in between games, like it's just a boundary I have. Like that is my disconnect time. When I have my kids, I don't do work with them there. I wait till they go to bed. They have my undivided attention. You have to get to that point as well. That's just for anybody. I don't care if you've been married 10 years and you're out there grinding. You cannot just constantly just think that your significant other is just going to be waiting there. I've seen way too many artists, successful artists, that wake up one day and their spouse is gone. Their significant other is gone. They got tired. They found somebody else or they just feel neglected. And that's when you're successful. When you're on the up and you're out there grinding and they're not seeing a lot of results, but what they are seeing is that they're getting shelved for you. Yeah, it's not a great place to be. But I don't like that your girl's calling this a hobby. I do not like that because that's kind of demeaning to what you're doing. He says, so here's what I'm really struggling with. How do you pursue music seriously without letting it consume everything else? Disconnect, have boundaries, get a hobby. I got into painting. I'm doing acrylic painting now. I do that and I love it. And it has nothing to do with music. It's got nothing to do with parenting. And I do it and I suck at it. I'm horrible, but I'm going to get there. So you gotta have other things besides just being an artist. Like I meet these like 18-year-old artists and they're just like, nothing else matters. I don't have a life. I'm not going to the movies. I'm not getting in a relationship. And it's like, easy does it, man. Because also, where are you going to pull your inspiration from if all you're doing is just being a hamster on a wheel, just constantly just, grinding it out. So how do you pursue music seriously without letting it consume everything else? Take a break. You don't need to work on reels every day. You can work on reels one night and get enough content for 7 days and schedule it out. You don't have to do it every day. I don't think you're playing out every night, because if you were, I think you'd be, telling me that and have like really great numbers. If you want to keep this relationship, and I would say this too, when I was in A&R, you would sit with the artist and the wife. This is after they got signed. I never negotiated with spouses. I don't work with spouses. I still won't work with spouses because you're not objective, and I don't expect you to be objective. Just like I don't work with parents. Like, you're not objective, and your job is not to be objective. Your job is to be a protector, a supporter, but you also need to be realistic, and that's not what a spouse or a parent is. But after you sign with them and you can smell the marriage is in trouble or the relationship's on the rocks or whatever, you pull them in and you have to kind of almost do like a love contract. Like, what do you need from him? Like, okay, well, that's not going to work. But what else can I give you? Like, what else can we agree on here? And usually if they want to salvage the relationship, both sides will come together. But usually if one person's done, like, they're just like, no, I'm not budging. You could have a girlfriend of 6 years be like, I just want him to stop doing music. And the guy's like, that's not fair. And that isn't fair, because that's what you signed up for when you got there. He says, how do you explain to someone what this dream means when there's no time limit or guarantee? After 6 years, you shouldn't have to explain. After 6 years, she should get it. She should get it. You shouldn't have to like do a PowerPoint presentation with your girlfriend of 6 years. Now, if you guys were together for 6 weeks or even 6 months, I would say, okay, well, this is what you got to do. But you're 6 years. But I'm telling you what this is more than anything. Take it from a guy who, loved and lost long-term relationship of marriage. What you're running into here is after 6 years, she's just tired of being benched. She's just tired of being shelved by you. And so you're going to have to make more time. But I wouldn't be in a relationship. If somebody was like, oh, what a cool hobby you have, like, that's demeaning to me, I'd be gone. I'd be butt cheeks out, man. He says, at what point does chasing it turn into being unfair to the people around you? When you're canceling vacations, when you're canceling plans and events. So shout out to John Clark. We've done a bunch of projects together, and this was 2014 and, Christmas season. We were working on a project, and it was all consuming. And he was married and he's still married, but at the time he was married, and I think he had 1 or 2 kids. And I had no kids. And it was a Saturday afternoon, and we were like all day on the phone working on this and whatever. And he said, hey, I got to go. I got to take my kids to the mall to go see Santa. They're young kids. And my response to him was, don't you have a wife who can do that? And he just laughed. And he said, oh, buddy, you wait till you bring your daughter home from Taiwan, and then we'll have this conversation. And I kind of scoffed. I'm like, pfft. First year I brought my daughter home. We go to the mall. She gets her picture with Santa. I post it online. And John Clark responds with, don't you have somebody else who can do that? I think that your worldview is very narrow, just like mine was. Oh, and by the way, on that story with John Clark is 12 years later, he still heckles me for stuff like that. But I love you, Johnny. He says, well, at what point does chasing it turn into being unfair to the people around you when you don't make any time for them? They only got one chance at this life like you do. And if you're canceling vacations and they're excited because you guys are going to go to the Poconos, and then you cancel it because you got to go to the studio, that's not fair. And if you had kids, this would definitely not be fair. But you're playing with somebody else's life here. I would tell you right now, if I was still with the label and you came to me and we were talking in my office about this, I would tell you that your relationship is probably over at this point. You guys are all just hanging on. She's hoping you'll give up music. You're not going to, because you're so unbalanced. You're canceling vacations, which I don't agree with. He says, how do you know if you're being disciplined or just selfish? You're being selfish. Because look, if you were single, okay, you're just, in the love department, you're a free agent indie artist. man, you can do whatever you want. You can spend every night on Instagram or every night writing songs or whatever. But when you ask somebody else to come into your life, and I mean, I've been guilty of this in the past, when you ask somebody to come into your life and you just expect them to just be your plus one on this creative journey, it's not fair because they got things they want to do. You see so many artists, so many creative people get dumped right after Christmas because the girl's like, it's usually the girl who, breaks up because the artist, the creative person is like missing like tree lighting services and all the Christmas Hallmark stuff that, people watch. And then Christmas is over and they're like, that sucked. I'm out. It happens all the time. So you are being selfish. He says, I'm scared that if I let go of music, I'll resent my girlfriend forever. Well, don't let go of music. You don't have to do one or the other. You don't have to neglect everything for music or give up music for everything else. It's about a balance. It's about, I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on music, and then you all got me Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be great. It's about balance. That's what it is. He says, but I'm equally scared that if I keep going, I'm going to lose my girlfriend. You probably will if you keep doing this exact same thing. But it might, she's calling it a hobby. I think she's done anyways. He says, I don't want a motivational speech from you. When have I ever given a motivational speech on this channel? He says, I want something honest. You want something honest? Your girlfriend's done with you. And she thinks everything you're doing is stupid and it's a hobby. And if I was you, I'd break up with her for calling it a hobby. Relieve her to let her go find somebody else after 6. You've been together for 6 years. You're not married. You're canceling vacations. Like, you're kind of a terrible boyfriend. Just going to be honest with you. But I don't like that she's calling it a hobby. That's her resentment of being shelved by you. I've seen it a lot. I've never had anybody call it a hobby because that's like attacking my kids. Like you just signed your death certificate. But I have felt that, hey, thanks for neglecting me, dude. Thanks for not returning my phone calls. I've done that and it cost me. Anyways, thanks for the email. Good luck. And find some balance. And if you have a question on the music industry that you'd like for me to answer, just go to MatthewRicks.com, click submit your question. Give me as many details as possible. And until next time, I will talk to you later.